Welcome to Classroom TV. Welcome to the second part of editing process. I am back as I have promised you that I will be doing the second part of editing also. In the first part, we discussed the need of editing for teachers and students. In this part, we are going to discuss the actual process of editing. Usually, editing is seen as a process of correcting the student works, written works like their spellings, their punctuation. The spelling and punctuation is given the major importance during editing. But when we see this actual process, which is like placed scientifically, the steps are placed scientifically so that the students and the teachers get accustomed to the process, and after a while, that means after 1 or 2 years, even the students can sit in groups together and start doing their editing process together as peer or group work. Here we go, children. First, let's see one of the group products.
I am Sneha. I am Yadagiri. Stop! Move aside. I want this tree. Don't cut the tree. Why? I want cut the tree. No. Trees are very important. Okay. Trees give to food and oxygen. I am sorry. I will save trees. Okay, uncle. Let's go planting.
That was a wonderful presentation, children. You have done really very well. Very nice. And it's time we can make our written works better. How can we do that? Let's follow the editing process. The first step in editing is discourse level editing. And in this step, there are 2 steps further. The first one is thematic editing. That means we are going to check whether our written work is regarding the theme or not. That means whether we have understood the theme of the written work or not. That is the first step. Discourse level editing, thematic editing. To check the theme of the written discourse, let's read the question first. A man is trying to cut a tree. A woman is trying to stop him. Now write a possible conversation between them. When we look at the conversation, we can clearly see that the conversation is related to the theme. A man cutting a tree and a woman trying to stop him. So thematically, this conversation is right. The second step in the discourse level editing is checking the discourse features. For example, if you have written a conversation, we are going to check whether there are the discourse features in that conversation. Whether if you have written a letter, we will check for the discourse features of a letter. Let's check the discourse features. This is a conversation and we can see there are 2 characters and there are dialogues between the characters. After the discourse level editing, the second one is syntactic editing. In this syntactic editing, we are going to go for the sentence level editing in the first part. That means we are going to delete the extra words, add the missing words, and also check the word order in the sentences we have written. This is the conversation written by the students. The conversation between Sneha and Yadagiri. Now let's go to syntactic editing, where we are going to do the word level editing. Here we go. The first part is deleting extra words and if necessary adding missing words. Let's check this line from the conversation. Sneha said, "Trees give to food and oxygen." What is the change necessary here? Do you find any extra word in this sentence? If yes, what is that word? 2. If we think that Two is an extra word. Let's delete it and rewrite this sentence. Trees give food and oxygen. This sentence seems to be very nice, but can we add any word? Do you feel that there is a missing word in this sentence? Let's see. Trees give. Can we add a word there? Trees give us food and oxygen. How is this one? I think it looks perfect, right? Let's see another example. See this sentence from the conversation. Yadagiri said, "Why? I won't cut the tree." Why is a separate expression. I won't cut the tree is the next expression. So let's see the second part. I won't cut the tree. When you hear that, it seems that something is missing over there. Let's add a word after I want. What would you want to suggest, children? Why? I want to cut the tree. Perfect. Let's go to the next part, checking the word order. This is the sentence from the conversation. Yadagiri said, "I'm sorry, I will the save trees." So there are two expressions here. I am sorry, I will the save trees. The seems to be out of place here. So what can we do? Can we change the word order? Let's change the from that place and take it to the place where we can write it after save and before trees. Let's see whether this works or not. I'm sorry, I will save the trees. How does it sound, children? Is it right? I think it is right. And now the third step in editing, morphological editing. So what are the steps in this morphological editing? The first one is about the errors in three areas, especially passive voice and tense, especially progressive, perfective and passive. And next, errors in PNG, person, number and gender, and errors in affixes, prefixes and suffixes. So these are the three areas under morphological editing. There is one more area in morphological editing, subject and verb agreement in person, number and gender. This is the product of the syntactic editing, that means word level editing. And when you look at this product, which is better than the previous one, we don't see any errors regarding person, number and gender or tense or voice. We don't see any problems with affixes or subject verb agreement. So let's move on to the next part of the editing. Now the last part of our editing process, the fourth part, conventions of writing. In this part, we are going to see the errors regarding spellings and punctuation marks. The next part of the editing is about conventions of writing. Let's first check the spellings. If you look at this conversation, there are not many problems with the spellings except for one word. The last line, the word is there in the last line and that word is uncle. So what shall we do now? Let's read this sentence. Okay, uncle, let's go planting. So the problem is with the word uncle and with its spelling. So how shall we find the right spelling or the correct spelling for uncle? Let's check our textbook or else the glossary chart or else your dictionary. And if you think you are unable to find the spelling, the right spelling, you can even ask your class teacher who is there in the class. So what is the correct spelling of uncle? Let's see. Uncle. So this is the right spelling for uncle. How was that? Is this better? Let's move on. Let's go to the next part of the conventions of writing, that is punctuation. Punctuation means checking the capitals, full stop, comma, question mark, exclamation mark, etc. And when we look at these sentences, we can clearly see that most of the sentences didn't begin with a capital letter. Let's first do that. Let's make those changes. Here we go. So what do you think now? We have replaced all the small letters of the beginning of the sentences with capital letters. Stop, capital S here, beginning of the sentence. Move aside, capital M. Don't cut, again, capital D, beginning of the sentence. Why? Again, capital letter W. No, capital letter. Okay. Then here, trees, capital letter. The last one, okay, uncle. O, capital letter. Let's move on. So after completing the capitalization, we still have to do some more corrections. So what are those corrections? I think at the end of a sentence, we need to use full stop, question mark, etc. Right? So let's see if there are any punctuation marks missing in these sentences. Look at this first one, stop. Stop is an exclamation. It expresses a feeling. So, what shall we do there? We'll use an exclamation mark. In the second sentence, move aside, I want this tree. There are two different expressions, move aside. So, after move aside, it's the sentence completion. So, we are going to use a full stop over there. Next sentence, don't cut the tree. This is fine. Fourth sentence. Why? I want to cut the tree. Again, there are two different expressions. Why? It's a question. I want to cut the tree. That is a statement. So after why, we need to use a punctuation mark. Question mark. Why? I want to cut the tree. Next. Sneha. No, trees are very important. That seems to be fine. Okay, Yadagiri, and that also seems to be fine. Trees give us food and oxygen. That's also fine. The next sentence, I am sorry. I will save the trees. Here there are two different ideas. I am sorry. One idea. I will save the trees. Next idea. So let's separate these two ideas. Let's separate these two ideas using the full stop. I am sorry. Full stop. The last sentence, okay uncle, let's go planting. Again, we have two different ideas. Okay uncle, that is one idea. Let's go planting. So, okay uncle, it seems a kind of expression because we are using this uncle. Okay, so we'll use the exclamation mark over there, and after okay, can we use a comma? What do you think? Let's try. Okay, uncle, let's go planting. So this is the final product after the entire process of editing. Was it better than the previous version? What do you feel? Do you think this kind of editing will work? One thing the teacher should remember that editing process involves the teacher version. The teacher's version is like the heart for editing process. It serves as a model for the students to look up to for spellings, for new words, for new expressions and many other things. So, a rich teacher's version is the best thing the teacher can do before starting the editing process. A teacher's version is a very important part of the editing process because it serves as an immediate model for the student to look up for spellings, punctuation marks and also some expressions which are discourse specific. For example, if you take this teacher's version, it has many expressions which aren't found in the children's presentations. Let's first look into the teacher's version.
Hey, stop, stop. Who are you? Why would I stop? Huh? Please, don't cut the tree. Why? Who are you to tell me? See, everyone has the right to speak. Oh, really? Yes, trees give us food, oxygen, and many more things, don't they? Yes, but. But what? We must save them.
This is the edited version of the student's work. The student can take some of the expressions from the teacher's version and add to his version and better the edited version further. Now let's look at the final product after the entire process of editing. The better product which evolved after editing. Here it is, children. Now we can see that we have taken some expressions from the teacher's version like hey, see, and when we read the conversation after these editions, the conversation seems to be a lot better than the previous versions. Let's see the editing process in a real classroom. Children, so this is a conversation written by Arvind Group. It is a good one. Can we make it better? Yes. Okay. So let's see. Trees give to food and oxygen. This is already rounded up. Do you think it is an extra word? So do you want to delete any extra word here? What is the extra word? Who want to delete it? So it's already rounded up. What will you do there? Yeah. You want to strike it? Strike it. So yeah. Very good. So see the next sentence, children. I want cut the tree. Is there any word missing? Two. Okay. So you want to add? Come on. Where do you want to add, ma? Take this. Okay. I want to cut the tree. Okay. Fine. Look at the next sentence here. I will the save trees. So do you want to change the word order? Or how? What will you do? Yes, Mahendra, you want to do something? What will you do now? Yeah, come on. Do it. Okay. Now read it.
I will save the trees.
Okay, so the went here. I will save the trees. So the should go here. Okay. Fine. Now look here. See, did all the sentences begin with the capital letters? All the sentences, look at this sentence, did it begin with capital letters? Yes. No. Okay, so do you want to make any changes? Yes. So, you want to add capital letters at the beginning of the sentences. Yeah. Do. So, capital S, very good. Beginning of the sentence. Okay, W capital. N also capital. O also capital letter. Trees, okay. So, we have to use a capital letter at the beginning of the sentences. Okay. Now, let's see. Do we need to add any other things like move aside? Do you want to add anything after this move aside? Yes. What do you want to add? Come here. Come. Full stop. Very good. Now look here. Why? I want to cut the tree. Do you need to add anything after why?
Question mark.
Question mark. Who will do that? Ramya? Why? Okay. Yeah. So, do you need to add anywhere else? Okay, uncle. What do you want to do here after uncle?
Full stop.
Come on.
Full
You
stop.
need to add a full stop. Here. Okay. Yeah. Now look at this spelling here. Uncle. Do you think this is okay or do you want to make changes to the spelling of uncle? Yes. What changes do you want to make? Come. Help her if she is correct or wrong. Yeah. Come on, help her. Come on, somebody else. Somebody else. CEL. Do you want to make any changes, further changes to CEL? UNCEL. Is it right or anything you want to make further changes to UNCEL? UNCEL. Is it right or you want to make any changes? Is it right? So refer your dictionary and tell the answer.
Like, share, subscribe and hit bell icon for notifications of Classroom TV.